Hi, welcome to Gene Monsters. Today I'm going to show you the first in a series of videos on how to make your own gene monster. So to begin, you need to find your worksheet that says Parent Gene Monster Record Sheet. So as you can see here on the screen, I have mine selected and I've given my monster a name, Tybalt, and I've written my name on the top so that if anybody finds it, it can find its way back to me. Now the way the Gene Monster project works is you're going to take the genetic information from two different gene monsters and combine them together. So in order to do that, you need the genetic information from both of the monsters you're going to be using. In our case, we're going to start with two heterozygous gene monsters, like this. This is BB. That's one of the two parents of my gene monster. And because they're heterozygous, that means that they have both dominant and recessive genes for each of the traits. So we're going to take BB's genetic information, and in order to decide if the dominant trait, the dominant gene, or the recessive gene gets passed on to Tybalt, we have to do some sort of random chance. And to do that, we're going to flip a coin. I like to use a penny. So on your penny, if it's heads, it's going to be the dominant trait that moves forward. If it's tails, the recessive trait will move forward. So in order to do this, we're going to take our penny, and all you have to do is flip and find out if it's heads or tails. My first gene to move forward, my first allele, is tails. So I'm going to go ahead and select this, and I'm going to make it a lowercase a. That lowercase a tells me that it's recessive, and that lowercase a is going to tell me which of the two traits move on. And I'm going to do that again for each one of the 20 different traits. So you will take your penny and you'll flip it again. And when I flip it the second time, I again find that I got tails. So I'm going to go ahead and select that and mark tails. And I'm going to continue and fill in all of the genes that are going to transfer from BB to Tybalt. So go ahead and hold on. Here I go. So at this point in time, I've gone through and I flipped my coin for each of the 20 different traits, writing down a recessive trait if the coin came up as tails, and writing down a dominant trait, like here for G, if the coin came up as heads. Now I'm going to do the same thing for my other gene monster, Baba, another heterozygous grandparent, and I'm going to flip that same coin 20 more times in order to determine from Baba, does the genetic dominant trait move forward or recessive trait move forward? In further generations, there's going to be a trick in order to make this go faster. But for today, we're just going to flip that coin 20 more times and find out what happens. Wow! So with my coin flipped 20 more times, I've finished taking the genetic information from Baba and randomly distributed the code either dominant or recessive. If the coin came up as heads, I wrote down the dominant trait, and if the coin came up as tails, I wrote down the recessive trait. Now, a couple of cool things can be found. As I move down through this list, you can see that some of them are actually homozygous. So here I have capital G, capital G. Those are homozygous. That means both of the traits are the same. In this case, it's homozygous, dominant. Number 11, lowercase k is homozygous, recessive. Number 12, Number 12 and number 14 are both homozygous, recessive. Number 15, homozygous, dominant. Number 16, dominant. Number 17, homozygous, recessive. All of the other traits are heterozygous, meaning there can be both one dominant and one recessive trait present in our genetic information. That's just the first step in making your gene monster. That first step, we've taken the parent gene monster record sheet, and we've taken a heterozygous information from both of the parents, and we've randomly flipped for every single one of those characteristics. Tune in for the second video in order to see how to take this information and draw a gene monster.